Hey guys, it's Chris. From the largest animals on Earth right now to animals that used to live in the ancient world, join me as I tell you about 11 of the biggest animals ever found. Number 11. Spinosaurus. Around 105 million years ago, roamed the largest carnivore of its time, the fearsome Spinosaurus. Named for the spines that protruded from this animal's back, scientists debated on their purpose, but they would have stuck out of the water like a fearsome fin while swimming. In fact, the Spinosaurus was aquatic and spent much of its time in water, being one of the few terrestrial animals to do this. It was a giant at up to 59 feet long and may have weighed close to 10 tons. Therefore, it's very likely it was an apex predator. Its aquatic lifestyle and relatively dull teeth suggested a fish-based diet, and it may have had to scavenge when food supplies were low, like other carnivorous dinosaurs. Living in modern-day Egypt, this ancient beast would later share Africa with a much more recent behemoth that can still be seen today, the crocodile. Number 10. Megalania. In the Outback of Australia during the Ice Age, there was an apex predator so feared that it became part of the legends of the land. This creature was the Megalania. The Megalania was a monitor lizard, one that was bigger than a crocodile, 23 feet long based on fossil findings. What's more, it was said to have a mouth full of teeth that were not only sharp, but were also extremely venomous. Venom isn't something that a lot of lizards have, so to have a 23-foot-long monitor lizard have venom is proof that it was one of the deadliest things in the outback. The Megalania would roam through the outback of Australia and would hunt just about anything there. This included the earliest settlers of the land, the Aborigines, who were so afraid of the Megalania that they wove it into their folklore and told tales of it for generations to come. But the Megalania isn't just something that scared people in the past. There are those who believe that the Megalania still exists in the Australian outback to this day, despite fossil records stating that it died some time ago. Basis for this belief involves unusual deaths of animals in the outback and occasional tracks that have been found out there. Number 9. Short-faced bear. Bears are massive creatures in their own right, for they can tower over most people and animals. But in terms of the biggest ones that ever existed, that would be the short-faced bear. These bears stood over 13 feet tall when on its back legs, which is 3 feet taller than the biggest bears in the world today. But their height wasn't the only difference they had, for they had a lot of girth too. Modern bears can weigh in at almost 800 pounds, which is really heavy, no doubt, but the short-faced bear weighed around 2,000 pounds. Plus, the short-faced bears were always hungry to an extent, and it had the ability to chase down and rip apart bison, buffalo, and more. What's more, their size made them incredibly hard to defeat, and the short-faced bears were infamous for their aggressive tendencies, so their very nature would make them major threats to all humans, as well as livestock and any other animals it would get its eyes on. There are some who believe that the short-faced bear still exists out in the world today, despite having been killed off during the Ice Age. And now for number 8, but first, be sure to subscribe to World List if you haven't already, and give this video a thumbs up to let us know if you want to see more videos like these. Number 8. ARGENTINOSAURUS. Another contender for largest animal to roam the earth is the mighty ARGENTINOSAURUS, the largest discovered dinosaur, living in South America nearly 100 million years ago. These herbivores could have been up to 70 feet tall, 115 feet long, and around 85 tons. A herd of animals, these beasts would have literally shook the earth as they moved across the terrain in search of trees to graze on. Born at around 11 pounds, this massive sauropod would have taken 40 years to reach its adult height and would have needed to consume close to 100,000 calories a day. That's a big meal. Discovered quite recently in 1987, the spinal bone that was found was so huge that it wasn't even considered to be a dinosaur bone at all. Eventually, it was officially classified in 1993 and named after the country of Argentina where it was found. Interestingly, unlike the blue whale that is only rarely hunted, the largest herbivore was still actively hunted, and it was hunted by one of the most ferocious carnivores of all time. Number 7. PARACERATHERIUM. In the world today, one of the biggest animals around is the elephant. Elephants weigh many tons and can be over 20 feet tall. But back in ancient times, there was a creature that was much bigger than an elephant. It was the PARACERATHERIUM. PARACERATHERIUM is the confirmed biggest land mammal to have ever existed, at least that we know about at this time. But they weren't elephants. They were actually rhinoceros. The average height of a rhino is about 6 feet, but this ancient beast was 4 times that. The PARACERATHERIUM could grow up to 24 feet in height, and as for their weight, they could be up to 44,000 pounds. Another big difference between the PARACERATHERIUM and the rhinos of today were their necks. PARACERATHERIUM had a very long neck, which it used to grab leaves off of trees. Sadly, because of how much it needed to eat and the world that continually changed around it, the PARACERATHERIUM went extinct. Number 6. Rhamphossuchus. In the modern world, crocodiles have been documented to be pretty long, with many getting over 20 feet in length. But long ago, in the prehistoric world, when things were very different, there was a crocodile species that was able to get much longer than that, the Rhamphossuchus. To be clear, the fossil record for the Rhamphossuchus is a bit incomplete. In fact, there is no complete fossil for the creature, but enough has been found to paint a good enough picture to show what it would have been like. For example, its length was up to 36 feet. Given that the current world record holder for biggest crocodile is 23 feet, that's a big difference in size. One of the biggest things to separate Rhamphossuchus from modern crocodiles is its ability to swim like a true predator of the oceans. This creature was quick, and it used its long tail to help guide it through the waters and make quick turns. This contrast actually can't help but make you wonder why crocodiles went from such predators in the ocean to first strike creatures. But then again, the world was much different back then, so they no doubt adapted to the world around it. Number 5. TITANOBOA. In the tropics of northern Colombia, bones were found for a snake, but not just any snake. The bones they found ended up being around 48 feet in length once all put together. This was the discovery of the TITANOBOA, the biggest snake to have ever lived. In the world today, the biggest snake species have been known to grow to about 30 plus feet in length, which is massive, no doubt, but even at their biggest, they don't stack up to the TITANOBOA. But it's not just the length that should be feared. It's the weight of the TITANOBOA. It was said to have weighed around 2,500 to 3,000 pounds. And with that distributed along its massive near 50-foot frame, that means it had a lot of power when it would constrict prey. While it's true that the TITANOBOA was found in Colombia, that doesn't mean that it couldn't live in other parts of the world, especially given how much the world has changed today. There's also the fact that with its size, it could swallow just about anything without much issue, meaning that catching prey wouldn't be an issue for it at all. Number 4. Megalodon. In ancient times, there was a single shark that dominated the world, and that was the Megalodon. One of the reasons the Megalodon dominated its era was because of its size. It could be up to 60 feet long, and some believe even more than that, and weighed up to 34 metric tons, making it one of the largest predators to ever roam in the waters of our world, regardless of the time period. The other reason for its domination was its strength and aggression. The Megalodon was arguably the most aggressive shark species that ever lived, and not just because it could take out just about anything it laid its eyes on, but rather its massive size demanded that it eat quite a bit to survive. Scientists believe that the Megalodon had to eat at least 1 to 2 tons of food a day. This is why they were such a force to be reckoned with, because this means they could literally affect the balance of most water ecosystems with their heavy eating. This heavy eating, along with certain climate changes and extinction-level events, are said to have led to the extinction of the Megalodon, as their food supply started to dry up and they were forced to eat each other. Number 3. GIGANOTOSAURUS. The appropriately named GIGANOTOSAURUS was so large that it was one of the only predators that dared to hunt the even larger ARGENTINOSAURUS across South America. Larger than even the mighty Tyrannosaurus, the GIGANOTOSAURUS was able to grow up to 43 feet long and weighed close to 14 tons. Similar in structure to the T-Rex, this giant carnivore made up for its stubby arms with a strong and powerful jaw, capable of crushing bone. It may have been able to run at up to 50 kilometers per hour, and its long and muscular tail would have helped it with balance and to make quick turns to pursue its prey. Hunting very large animals, the GIGANOTOSAURUS had no natural predators and could likely survive for long periods of time on one large kill. Scientists suggest that it used its blade-like teeth to slice into prey, gradually weakening them before going in for the fatal blow. This fearsome carnivore was definitely a scourge of the Argentine plains, but it was not quite the largest predatory dinosaur. For that, we have to travel to the sands of northern Africa. Number 2. TITANOSAURUS. When I tell you to picture a dinosaur, what comes to mind? Do you think about the T-Rex, maybe a Triceratops or a Stegosaurus? Or do you think about the herbivores like Brachiosaurus and the others that have that lineage? While the T-Rex, Spinosaurus, and other meat-eaters get the fame from various movies, it's these long necks that were actually the biggest dinosaurs around by a wide margin. Most of these creatures fall into the family known as Titanosaurus, which the Brachiosaurus and various other species reside in. What's very important to note about these creatures is that they were not just tall, but long and heavy. The average weight of a Brachiosaurus was about 62 tons once they were fully grown. Think about that, a 62-ton creature walking and moving without any issue. This was what the world was like at one time. However, a discovery in 2014 seems to point to the largest of the titanosaurs, and they may not be known just yet. A farmer found a massive thigh bone in the ground, and based on its size, it could mean that the creature who had this bone was 130 feet long and over 65 feet tall. That's an extra 10 to 20 feet in both directions from what the now number 2 titanosaur sauropod would have been. Needless to say, when more bones were discovered in the area, scientists and archaeologists were amazed. Given the size of these bones, which surpass any of the previously known giant animals, the new dinosaur is the largest animal known that walked the earth, the researchers told BBC News. The only problem right now is that the new Titanosaurus doesn't have a complete skeleton, and as such, the full size and weight of the creature can only be estimated, and the scientists knew that. Without knowing more about this current find, it's difficult to be sure. One problem with assessing the weight of both ARGENTINOSAURUS and this new discovery is that they're both based on very fragmentary specimens. No complete skeleton is known, which means the animal's proportions and overall shape are just conjecture. Regardless of that though, these various species were some of the biggest things to ever roam the earth, and even the biggest living creature today, the blue whale, can't compare to the size of the Titanosaurus. Number 1. Blue whale. In terms of the biggest living creature in the world today, the one that tops the list is the blue whale. The largest ever recorded blue whale was around 112 feet, and the average for this whale species is about 100 feet, further cementing it as the largest creature on Earth. Yet despite its size, like most whales, it only eats the smallest of sea creatures. The name of the whale comes via its skin, which is known to have various versions of the blue-gray tones. In terms of numbers, coming into the 20th century, the blue whale was virtually in every single ocean on the planet. However, that's also when the rise of whale fishery came into existence. Because of this, the blue whale were nearly hunted into extinction because of the valuables that are within their body, including oil, meat, and blubber. However, due to strict regulations, the blue whale population has started to bounce back, which many people appreciate, due to the fact that blue whales are known to be very kind and docile creatures. What's more, they're also known to live in pods or congregations of whales. One time would have included thousands of other whales. Thanks for watching. What did you think of these animals, both current and past, that were the biggest of their kind? Were you surprised by any of the entries on this list? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe to World List, and I'll see you next time.